This is Matthew Herbert. I've made a new record with my big band called There's Me and There's You. Today I'm going to ramble on about how I made it and that kind of thing. What do I do? Just walk down the end? These boots are a bit big.
Nothing of great importance, nothing of substance too, nothing to prick your conscience.
Yeah, the title, There's Me and There's You, is a kind of statement of principle, really. It's a sort of guiding principle, if you like, of difference and equality in the same things. The starting point for bringing together this collection of songs would be power and how it's abused a lot these days, and how it's been abused historically, how it will no doubt continue to be abused. And also the positive aspects of it as well, the positive aspects of power, the power that we do have, there's certain aspects of our lives that we do have control over. We have the power to love, for example, we have the power to not be violent, share our ideas with other people in a way that this, I'm working with 17 or 18 musicians on here, plus a choir of 27, plus an orchestra of noise of 70 people making different noises. So, that's a positive power as well, the power of organisation and bringing people together in some kind of positive demonstration of power, rather than just motivating people to buy stuff or to shoot people, which seems to be the two primary objectives of our government these days.
I know to love is hard. I know that love makes strong. I know that shackled.
There's a track on the album called Battery, which is about someone who was arrested and detained in Guantanamo and tortured for the possession of a battery charger. Now, he got this battery charger from Argos, and it's the same battery charger that I got for my 35th birthday, and the idea was that I got this battery charger and it was a gift, and it was something that I associate with my family and whatever. It sounds banal, but recharging batteries, and yet for somebody else, the possession of this, which to the authorities said could be used as an improvised explosive device for it to trigger a car bomb. And so from that he was shipped around, flown around the world and these flights, these rendition flights, and taken and tortured and then released 5 years later without any charge. So again, there's a difference between the two things, and yet we're united in something, and yet we're separated by something else. The fact that he's obviously a Muslim is a defining factor in that difference. There's no direct connection between this record and Goodbye Swingtime, the previous record. In many ways it's a continuum of work that I've been doing for a long time, which is working explicitly with sounds and trying to create political narratives from sounds, or to amplify political narratives through sound. And the other side of things, which is a sort of melodic or harmonic exploration of themes and ideas, that's that way. And so the two hopefully support each other. For one aspect of the record, we recorded sounds at the British Museum, and basically we recorded, it was supposed to be 100 people, because there's a recurring theme on the record, which is there's 100 things that are recorded in measures of 100. So the idea was to have There's Me and There's You would also represent the many and the few. I want to basically, I wanted to try and amplify some of these protest noises. So there's one track about the failure of the Pope to recommend the use of condoms in Africa to prevent AIDS. So we had condoms, so we had 70 people scraping condoms along the floor. Now, I could have done this in my studio or in my house, but actually I liked the idea of taking it into a historical context where this power could be put in a different context, where you can absorb different stories to see how people reacted, maybe people would scrape the floor a little more respectfully with their condoms, or with a little more disdain or whatever, you know. So all these things I feel have an influence on sound, because sound is an expression of what it's like to be human.
Breathe, breathe, just one more mouthful. Breathe, breathe, just one more lungful. Breathe, breathe, just one more lungful. Stop, think about it.
Yeah, it's always sort of quite hard to talk about musicians on a record. I always start talking and then I feel like it's incredibly dull to talk about that sort of musical process. It doesn't really make much, doesn't do any sorts of justice to how the record was put together. And Esca's a good example of that, which was, for me, it was, you're only as good as the other person sort of thing, you know. And it was a bit like sort of climbing into the boat with her for the first time, and off we went, and we suddenly found ourselves doing 100 miles an hour, and we thought we were only capable of doing 10. And it was, I don't know, it was an incredibly important turning point for me of finding something that could vocalise my songs, because these, after all, these are words that I've written, melodies that I've written, and they're, by someone else singing them, they're embodying the idea that you have, or they're embodying a quality that you hope to put across.
Sweet meat and banana at the same time.
Abbey Road is one of the few recording studios left in London that can handle a big band, really, and a big band has such a specific quality of sound that's required. You know, it needs to be a sort of contained sound that can contain all those noises and organise them properly, but it also needs to have some sort of amplification to give some sort of body and weight to the noise. And of course, it's like, it's you know, the legend goes before it, and it's certainly got something very, you know, it's got something very impressive about it. What it doesn't have like sort of 10-year-old boys throwing stones at us. And what was amazing as well was that we managed to record like every piece that we needed for the record in one day. You know, Abbey Road is one of those sort of turbo professional places where everything sort of comes together in the most professional manner possible. And it really is the sort of hidden spine of the record, really.
Slow down to no beat. Step up to yes, wearing your bed, turn up the yes.
So I guess this record really is a summary of a lot of things and lessons that I've learned about how to organise music and people, and it's sort of come together on this. So whilst it's called the Big Band, there's actually a choir of 27 people that were volunteers that came up and sung with us. There was 70 people that came to the British Museum to make sounds for me. So whilst it might be me sat here on a seawall talking about my ideas, it's all them and their stories and their principles and their beliefs as well that come together. And the fact that people are prepared to volunteer as well suggests to me that it's not all just about money as well. It's not just a product, it's a process, and it's a group of people, it's a community. In that sense, it's something that I'm very proud of, that regardless of whether the music's any good, the fact we managed to motivate these people and bring them all together in a certain way, and to do that is something that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm incredibly grateful for the hard work and commitment by other people into sort of bringing these ideas to life. The world seems to be divided, and we don't seem to be acting as one, and we need to, the way that the weather's going and all of that kind of stuff. So there's me and there's you, that's it.